If you're someone that likes the idea of perhaps staying a little bit private with your financial transactions, Bitcoin mining is for you. Now, don't let this leak out. Sometimes when I talk to people, I say you might put $1,000 in up front or $10,000 up front, but then you want to continually buy Bitcoin into the future. Whatever it is, be consistent. The problem with doing that is that people get analysis paralysis. How much Bitcoin? You're probably thinking, have I mined since I've been doing Bitcoin mining? And it's approximately, I'm Matthew Fraser, and this is Crypto Collective. After making millions with Amazon and e-commerce, I realized that if I was starting again today, crypto would be my first choice. I'm here to help you take your first steps and build real wealth. Ready to set yourself up for life? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Crypto Collective. It's Matthew Fraser here. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone for tuning into the episodes. We've had a huge influx of people now who have found the channel. Thank you so much. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We're going to be putting out a lot more content into the future. So today's episode is going to be about Bitcoin mining. Now, I've been Bitcoin mining now for coming up to about 1 year. So I want to give you some of the insights that I've taken away from that. How much money have I made, the costs, some of the risks that I see in doing this. Because one thing is that I think it's, first of all, can be part of your Bitcoin accumulation strategy, right? Because one of the questions that comes up all the time is, should I just buy Bitcoin straight up or should I buy Bitcoin mining machines? I've bought Bitcoin, obviously, like straight up, yeah, allocated money into Bitcoin. But one of the other strategies is actually the Bitcoin mining. Now, just very quickly, if you don't know what Bitcoin mining is, basically you buy a computer and it mines Bitcoin from the protocol of the Bitcoin protocol and just dishes out Bitcoin every single day into my Bitcoin wallet. Now that's the basics of it. And in doing so, you've got to buy a Bitcoin mining machine, and mine is actually part of what's called a Bitcoin mining pool, right? Which means there's a whole big warehouse full of Bitcoin mining machines all working hard to mine Bitcoin to deposit into my wallet. Now, when I first did this, it wasn't because I was thinking about getting rich, okay? If you're thinking about getting rich off Bitcoin mining, then just move on, right? You're probably better off just buy Bitcoin and forget about it. But one of the things I love about Bitcoin mining is I'm now part of the Bitcoin mining network, right? It's just another sort of, I guess, feather to the hat of just my experience within the Bitcoin space. And in doing so, though, there's been some key highlights, and I want to share some of those key highlights with you. The first thing is, and I did actually mention this on an episode that's either come out now or might be coming out soon, where I interviewed Will from the Mining Store. Now, Will is an incredible guy. He knows all about Bitcoin mining, so make sure you tune into that. It goes a lot deeper into Bitcoin mining. But my experience has been some huge wins, right? Some psychological wins, right? So the first thing is that Bitcoin mining becomes a DCA strategy, right? So sometimes when I talk to people, I say the easiest thing to do is to, okay, you might put $1,000 in up front or $10,000 up front, but then you want to continually buy Bitcoin into the future, like whether that's $100 a week, $1,000 a month, whatever it is, be consistent. The problem with doing that is that people get, I guess, analysis paralysis, even about the DCA strategy, right? So they might be putting in $100 every week, and then all of a sudden you stop doing it because either the Bitcoin price has come down, and so therefore they're thinking, oh, it could go down even more, so they stop buying, when really when it's down, you should buy more, or it goes higher, the Bitcoin price goes higher, and they think, oh, I don't want to buy my $100 a week now because maybe it's the top. So these factors now actually stop you from allocating either way. But when you have your own Bitcoin mining machine, it doesn't care what the market is doing, whether the price goes up or the price goes down. It just keeps allocating you Bitcoin all the time, right? So that is some really, really interesting strategy to just set and forget. And keep in mind too, because I'm part of a Bitcoin mining pool, I actually do nothing. And for most people, they want something that is completely hands-off, completely passive, and this is why Bitcoin mining is so powerful, because it does exactly that. You actually just have a screen on my computer you can log into, and you can see the Bitcoin mining getting mined every single day, dropping into your wallet. So I started off with 3 of these mining machines. I then realized that the DCA strategy was now really, really powerful. So I increased it to then 5 machines. Hey guys, real quick, if you've been wanting to earn passive Bitcoin, but don't want to deal with banking regulations or technical setups, check out Mining Store. They help you buy and host ASIC miners in pro-grade facilities with no technical capabilities or infrastructure costs on your end. Just passive Bitcoin sent straight to your wallet. Use the link in the show notes to learn more. Now back to the episode. Now it was around this time that something bad happened, right? And that was that the warehouse in Norway actually had an electrical fault, right? So here I've got these 3 to 5 Bitcoin mining machines. I think it was actually 3 at the time, and they're now offline. So one of the negatives was that these 3 Bitcoin mining machines went completely offline, and it ultimately ended up being for a period of, I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks, right? Now, if I'd already owned those mining machines for, 2 or 3 years prior to that, and then had a 3-week or 5-week dip, no problem, right? But because I was fairly new into the market, then it had a 5-week dip. I was like, damn, I'm missing out on some Bitcoin. But it just turned out that it's just one of these things that was like a black swan event, unforeseen, couldn't help it. Ultimately, the electrical fault got fixed, but it was during a time when there was like winter, there was blizzards, and they couldn't get the equipment in to fix the issue, and so that's what happened. But good to know that the Mining Store, though, were right behind me the whole time, filling me in on the details and keeping me up to date as to what was happening, right? I can only imagine how many calls they were getting, but they handled it really, really well. So that is one of the downsides I think you have to think about. But as I said, I think it is a black swan event, and since then, I've had no issues whatsoever. So it was after that, then I allocated, the lesson that I got from that though was I need to have more risk mitigation. So I wanted to increase my Bitcoin exposure to Bitcoin mining, but I wanted to mitigate the risk. I didn't want to have all my eggs into one basket. So one of the things that you could also think about is as you grow out your Bitcoin mining machine portfolio is to then start mitigating the risk by moving into different warehouses. So one of the things that the Mining Store offered was they said, look, we've got this mining facility in Norway, and yes, we've had an issue there before, but it was a black swan event. Everything's fine now. But let's now put 5 other, because I was ready to buy another 5 now, I'm like doubling down, another 5 of these Bitcoin mining machines over into Ethiopia. And guess what? Turned out Ethiopia has even cheaper power than Norway. So I was like, yeah, brilliant, let's do that. So that's when I went ahead and invested into another of these 5 Bitcoin mining machines. Now, the thing that you might be thinking is, well, why don't I just have the Bitcoin mining machines in Australia? And I just touched on it. It's because of the electricity cost. The electricity cost in Australia is completely prohibitive to basically do anything. That's why you've seen all these manufacturing plants close down in Australia, and they just basically have to go overseas because the government is completely reckless, in my opinion, when it comes to controlling the energy sector in Australia. They keep saying that renewable energy is the cheapest form of energy, but yet everyone's like packing up and leaving, right? It's a joke. So we need to, and if you're not au fait with this, I'm completely against the net zero policy, right? Now, throw all the dirt you want at me, but I'm completely against it, and I don't give a shit what you think. So that's where we're currently up to in the Bitcoin mining saga. Now, I just had Will from the Mining Store on an episode, and you know what's so funny? Every time I talk to him, I just think, damn, I need to get more mining machines. Now, I'm just going to drop this in now, and I know that it's not that the ATO is going to be against you doing this, because I'm not advocating towards to anything to do with trying to get around paying taxes. But if you're someone that likes the idea of perhaps staying a little bit private with your financial transactions, Bitcoin mining is for you. Now, don't let this leak out, okay? But when you go and get Bitcoin mining machines, and I didn't even think about this at first when I did it, you don't have to provide any KYC. There's no ID to go and buy computers, because that's all the Bitcoin mining machines are. They're just computers, right? You don't go to Harvey Norman, buy a computer and then show ID, right? Same thing with Bitcoin mining machines. It just turns out though that the Bitcoin mining machines then dish out Bitcoin, right, into your own private wallet. So 2 things I'm going to leave you with before we wrap up this episode as to maybe a few more than 2 things, but a few things as to why you should get into Bitcoin mining. One is obviously no KYC, so no biometric scans or any of that crap. The second thing is going to be if you've got large sums of money, let's say you've got an SMSF, right? You can actually buy Bitcoin mining machines within your SMSF. And in doing so, when you're trying to get funds from your bank into, let's say you were just going to buy Bitcoin, like it is possible to do. Don't get me wrong. If you come onto my free online community, you'll find a whole list of the banks that we recommend and some of the strategies around getting funds from your bank into a crypto exchange like COINSTASH, for example, one of the most trusted crypto exchanges that I certainly recommend it and what I use for my SMSF myself. But I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks on how to get your money in. But let's just say you're someone and you've got even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's very difficult to get that into an exchange. Now, one of the things that where you will not get any blocks whatsoever is when you actually buy Bitcoin mining machines. So the mining store, for example, the guys that I use based out of Australia, they will just send you an invoice for these mining machines, right? And then you just pay it, right? So it's not actually going to an exchange, right? And then you have the Bitcoin that comes then through completely sovereign, completely private into your own wallet, right? Absolutely incredible. So how much Bitcoin, you're probably thinking, have I mined since I've been doing it? So keep in mind, I started at 3, I'm now at 10 machines, and it's approximately 20,000 Australian dollars in just under a year. Okay, so $20,000. Right now, with the 10 machines, I'm producing about 4,500 to 5,000 Australian dollars every single month. So guys, that's the update on the Bitcoin mining. It's really something that you should think about for all the reasons I just explained. And I look forward to giving you some of my further insights into Bitcoin mining as I find them. And obviously keep stacking Bitcoin and build your financial future into the future. All right, take care. Thanks for tuning in to Crypto Collective. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your support is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. You can also find more of me at I'm Matthew Fraser on all social media platforms.